Humanities Engagement number 6. Option 2, remediate a text. We're going to be speaking about Citizen Kane, created in 1941 by Mr. Orson Welles. We're going to discuss a plan on how this film could be remade. We're going to have some visual details discussed. We're going to speak about what elements of the plot could be changed so it can be more appealing to a modern audience. We're going to change some effects of some of the film strategies. Then we're going to pitch it to an investor. So the plan that I would make for this movie to be remade would be, I would definitely change it to a documentary style, definitely following with possibly a camera in hand, interviewing each of the individuals, where you really get up close and personal, as well as this style has been shown to be popular recently, so I would definitely use that, which would definitely appeal to the more modern audience. Some of the visual details I would change, would definitely make the movie in color. I think that would definitely have a great impact, showing the type of attire that they wore, the houses that they were in, also updated with some CGI. In the beginning of this particular movie, it seemed like they were preparing for a newscast. I would continue to keep that, but what I would do is make it an actual newscast, showing the death of Mr. Kane. Some of the visuals or the effects of the film strategies I would probably add would be a lot of dissolution. As people were talking, you would sort of dissolve into what would be similar to a thought process, and then having that again, that documentary style where they are talking with whomever it may be, probably changing that, maybe doing some speeds changes as well, maybe doing some reverse camera effects. Also, some of the camera angles would be really from a higher point of view, so you can get more of the full attire as they're standing. Those would be some of the techniques that I would use for this particular movie. If I were to pitch it to an investor, I would definitely have to start it with watching this particular movie. This is known as one of the masterpieces of filmmaking of all time, and again, just having that beginning, starting off as a potential news story. I would actually make it a news story, and maybe go a little bit more in depth as to the reasoning behind the mother wanting to give up Mr. Kane to this particular group of people, besides the fact that there was a better life that was wanted for him. Was there any compensation on her part? I would probably dig a little deeper into that. And also in regards to the Rosebud, I would have that plan to something that would become a part of this murder mystery that I think I would probably go for, into changing the plot a little bit, as opposed to just informational, having Mr. Thompson just investigating what was so significant about the Rosebud. I would probably change it to where it's a mystery, and now he's not only just an investigative reporter. I would probably make him a detective, and have him really do some investigating to the people that knew him best to figure out the significance of this Rosebud, and maybe make it along those lines. and having it as that documentary where it's like we're following this particular detective around to figure out who murdered this Mr. Kane would definitely, I think, make it a little bit more appealing to a more of a modern audience, with definitely some plot twist in there. Maybe having Miss Susan Alexander, one of the murder suspects. Maybe even having the son be a murder suspect as well. I think that would be pretty influential. Or even Jedediah, making everybody that they actually speak to, interview, making each of them a murder suspect. I think that would be a great twist to the movie that would maybe have people a little bit more intrigued. And again, having the movie seen through the eyes of the investigator, I think would be very impactful. I think also showing split screens at the end of the movie to really show what Rosebud meant. I think that would also be a nice twist to the end, showing as they throw the sled into the fire, showing when he attacked the men with the sled in the beginning. Mr. Kane went with the sled, and then showing that Rosebud, showing that whole scene side by side. I think that would be pretty impactful. I think that would be a nice twist at the end of the movie, where if you weren't really paying attention, you might have missed that. I would also use a widescreen format to show more of the scenery, and that would also give it a good effect in regards for it being a murder mystery. And these are some of the things that I would do. The cast I think would be pretty high powered. The cast I selected is right over here. For Charles Foster Kane, I would cast Leonardo DiCaprio as the main character. Emily Monroe Newton would be, it was originally played by Ruth Warwick. I would have Anne Hathaway play that particular part. I think she has a great look for that particular character. I would also put Liev Schreiber as Joseph Cotton, who was played Jedediah Leland, who was a very close friend to Mr. Kane. For Susan Alexander, the singer, that would be the second wife to Mr. Kane. I would have that played Dorothy Comingore. She was the original actress. I would have Jennifer Lawrence play that particular role. I think that would be, she's a little bit younger than Leonardo DiCaprio, which would be very similar to the movie. Mr. Bernstein, who was pretty much Mr. Kane's right-hand man in The Inquirer, was played by Everett Sloan. I would have it played by Steve Buscemi. I might also add a little bit of little humor to it with this particular role by that character. The young Mr. Kane was originally played by Buddy Swan. I would have it played by Jacob Tremblay, who was the actor that was in the movie Wonder. He played the lead role. And then again, I would probably go into a little bit more of his childhood, maybe just previously before this particular scene where he's being given away, just so we can get a little bit more background on that. The son of Charles Kane was played originally by Sonny Bupp. I would have him played by Noah Jupe. And Jerry Thompson was originally played by William Allen. He was the investigative reporter. I would make him now a detective, and I would have it played by Tom Hanks. So these are some of the changes that I would make to this particular movie to have it stand out and appeal to a more modern audience. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the discussion, and have a great rest of your day.